Starting. So we're excited to have Miss Danny here for social media strategy. We will be helping you guys grow your brand. When I first met her, that was, I believe, in February of last year, right?
Earlier, I think December of last year, or December of the year before.
And she helped grow. Right now, our internship page is almost at 8,000. We started out at 800 when I first met her. So that's a pretty good increase in a matter of 12 to 14 months implementing her strategies. We did have a talk before, and just so you guys know, she's the one who told me to put a beanie on because she says, apparently my hair isn't good enough right now for you, so it needs to be
not that I can really talk, but like at least it's like brushed.
All right, Danny, so let's take this off now. One thing that we are learning with Zoom is you don't have control of this, so I guess I'll just have to go down.
I'll just give you one of these, and that'll be the little.
Okay.
This will be yours.
Is there something you can do to? That might be too hard. Okay. Now next time that I'll figure it out, or maybe you can do it so you can go down. But just tell me. So we're gonna.
Yeah. All right. So a couple things I want to talk about today. First of all, obviously it's a kind of a unique time, I think, with social media and just in the world. We've never had anything like this, but now more than ever, I think is the time to really focus on what you're doing on the digital side, because a lot of trainers, and Chris, I'm sure you hear this too, the common excuse of why they're not building their online presence is, oh, I don't have time. I'm training X amount of clients per day. I can't focus on writing instant programs to sell on my website. I can't design a website. I can't focus on my Instagram. It's like, now you have all the time in the world. So it's a good time to, you know, turn kind of a what might be a negative situation to something positive for you, and really focus on how you can build your brand, build your social media presence, and ultimately convert that into revenue. And I think, you know, normally what I advise people to do when they're starting to get into the social media game is to focus on building their audience. And then once they have a solid base, focus on sales. I think right now I would sort of almost advise the opposite, as far as whatever audience you have right now, work with it, focus on selling your programs, focus on selling whatever products or services you're providing, because this is the time to do that. This is the time where people are sitting at home, they're looking for things to read or watch or do. This is the time to be producing a ton of content, and this is the time to really be focusing on sales. So, you know, I'll hang on to that slide for just a second. One of the things that we talk about at Show Up Fitness is, you know, why are, you know, obviously the trainers who go through our internship, they understand the science side of things, they understand service, they understand sales. And one of the things that we put an emphasis on, and I particularly put an emphasis on, is branding. And I think if you don't have a solid brand established, you're just sort of a person selling programs. So part of what we're going to talk about today is how to separate yourself from the millions of home guides that are out there and the millions of people who are doing online coaching, how to be different, how to be unique, how to really get, you know, your audience to buy from you specifically, and not just, you know, the other random person they're following. So.
Yeah, the word reputology, maybe some do not know what that is, but that's a big thing today with Yelp reviews, with Google reviews. That's how people will find you and they're going to read about you. So I always tell my trainers at Show Up, would your clients leave you a Yelp review today? I don't care if it's the first session or the 100th session. Sorry, it was going in and out. But you got to always be thinking, if your client were to leave you a Yelp review, would it be awesome? So that first session should be amazing. That 10th session, the 100th session, the 1,000th session. Always invest into your clients. How can you give more? I see a big flaw with trainers, especially online. I'll say it's even a bigger flaw with online. And you could add in on that, Danny. But I see these online trainers, they post a picture of their TNA, and then they sell a workout plan, and that's it. There's no check-ins. There's no personability. There's personality. There's none of that. So I think there's a huge opportunity there to be different by, if you're online, to send out a personal email, to send out a thank you, to check in on them, send them a text message, send them a video message. How simple is it to get your phone, get their number, required as a fill-in, and say, hey, Jackson, looking forward to having you part of this program. You are going to kick ass. Remember to show up. You got my number now. If you have any questions, shoot me a text back. So simple, but then what you've done is you personalize it. And now the likelihood of that person going from a transaction into a long-term client is just going to be significant.
Totally. Yeah, and I think that's huge as far as just, like, I'll even give an example of, I was down in San Diego, and I worked out with someone, and I asked them about a coach that I saw on Instagram they had worked with, and they were like, oh, the person was terrible. I never heard from them. And I paid X amount of dollars, and I never heard from them. And like, realistically, this person could be one of the, like, I don't know, they could be one of the best coaches, you know, for the thing that she specifically needed coaching for. But if you're not communicative with your clients, it doesn't matter, because they kind of lose that faith in you and that respect for you. So jumping kind of into what your focal point should be right now, and, you know, very particular for this time that we're in, I think the focus should be different than what it has been before. So again, like I said, the focus should really be on converting your audience to revenue in the digital space, because building is obviously always important, but right now I think conversion is sort of the key for everyone, especially like if you're having a lot of financial uncertainty. So here are some things that I think you should be doing every single day or every single week. The first thing is daily posts. Everyone should be posting every single day. You legitimately have no excuse. There's no reason not to post every day on Instagram. At the very least, on your
I will butt in real quickly. Huh?
Huh?
Because I just got blocked. So that's
Okay, so if you're Chris, you have a sort of valid excuse, but if you're not Chris, then but you should be, theoretically, you should be posting every day on your stories, on your feed. Because again, the number one thing that I hear, both from, I'll say from my influencer clients and from like some of the trainers that I work with, is like, oh, I don't have time to post every single day, or, oh, I don't have time to film every single day. Now you do. You have all the time in the world. So this is the time to really be doing that. The second thing I'll say is increased engagement, meaning reaching out to more people, emailing more people, DMing more people, getting on calls with old clients, just engaging with people as much as humanly possible, because, you know, people are feeling really isolated, and that's something that I've talked to a lot of my own clients about, is they feel like they're stuck at home all day, and then they go out maybe for a walk, and then they're back at home and they interact with the same one or two people. And like getting that FaceTime from your trainer, getting a call from your old coach, like that's huge. You don't need to say, oh, can I call you? Just give them a call, shoot them a FaceTime. Like people want to talk right now. And it's not even necessarily to sell something, it's to interact with someone and make them feel good. And they're going to remember that over the next coach they work with who they never hear from. So increase the amount that you engage with people, both on social media and, you know, you can pick up the phone. You're not going to explode if you call someone. The next thing I'll talk about is your content formats and kind of A/B testing formats. So again, this is a great time for this. Maybe you come up with a couple formats that you think will work for you. Maybe one is like a talking head video. You know, you record it 5 minutes on, you know, whatever your topic is that you want to talk about. Maybe it's 5 minutes on how to stay productive when you're sort of feeling like you're in a rut, or how to make most of your home workouts, 5 everyday objects you can use for gym equipment, whatever it might be. That's one of your formats, is that talking head video. Your second format is some sort of workout or creative workout. And your third format is a video of a form tip for home workouts, whatever it might be, right? You pick those 3 formats, you try them out, you rotate them for 2 weeks, you see what works, you see what doesn't, and then you pick another format and you replace that with the lowest performing format. This is a great time to do that, again, because you can really sit down and spend the time looking at your analytics and not just quickly glancing and saying, this one didn't get a lot of likes. Maybe it didn't get a lot of likes, but did it get you a lot of followers? Did it get on the discover page? Did one of your hashtags pick up? Really dive into your analytics and don't just look at the surface level stuff of, oh, it didn't get a lot of likes. Because for me, the stuff that doesn't get a lot of likes sometimes will actually drive a lot of exposure and will have really big reach. So, okay, what that tells me is this piece of content didn't perform well, but this idea might actually be good. So let me try it again. Another thing I want to talk about is cohesive narrative is really big right now. I see a lot of people who are sort of pushing different messages, and I think it's because they don't really know where they stand. So like that's the biggest thing, is figure out where you stand with all of this. Do you think, you know, because I'll give an example. I saw an influencer who was saying, you know, if you don't have intense workouts for 2 weeks, you're not going to lose all your progress. Don't freak out. Do the best you can. And 2 days later, she was like, you need to be working out every single day. It's super important. Buy my guide. And I was like, okay, you can't really be on both sides of that issue. I hear both points are valid. I hear where she's coming from. But from a sales perspective, you have to be sort of pushing the same narrative. So it can't be, don't freak out. You don't need to go to the gym or you don't need to work out for 2 weeks. But also, it's super important that you work out every day. Buy my guide.
I'm freaking out.
Huh?
As she sounds like she's freaking out, yeah.
Right. And that's, I mean, look, that's a lot of people. I get it. It's a financially uncertain time for so many people, and you feel for them. But at the same time, you know, right now would be a great time to say, okay, if I want to sell X product, how can I sort of create all of my narrative and my branding and all of that around that? So that kind of brings me to that last point, is you want independent, unique, and consistent branding. So what that means is it's independent. It's not
tied into, you know, like a lot of these girls on Instagram and guys too, I see they're doing so much work for their sponsors right now, which is fine, but then also understand that if you have a supplement sponsor and all you're doing is talking about how great that supplement sponsor is, there's one in particular that comes to mind that has a certain product that everyone's like, it'll keep you healthy, which is an insane claim. But if you're talking about this particular sponsor over and over and over again, just know that when you go to push your own stuff, people are fatigued from hearing about that sponsor. So that's something to consider if you do have sponsors, is how much work are you doing for them versus what are you doing for yourself. Unique branding. Every single girl is doing a home workout right now. Every single bro is doing a home workout right now. That's totally fine. It is what it is, but come up with a unique angle, come up with something funny, a unique hashtag, a unique perspective. Maybe I haven't seen anyone focusing on like form a lot with home workouts, so maybe that's your angle. I haven't seen people focusing on education with home workouts, how you should structure them. I've seen some pretty bad jumps on there, Chris. I can send you some to roast. But you know, just coming up with a unique angle, and then consistent branding. Again, making sure that your messaging is the same across the board.
Yeah, so I'll chime in on a couple things. The first aspect you talked about is the daily posts, and I just think it's such bullshit that people use that as an excuse even today, as in 3 months ago, because we are constantly on our phone. Next time you're at Starbucks, observe the people around you. We are on our phone. So we have the opportunity to create content at all times. I sent out an email to about 30 Equinox trainers who I was working with, and we wanted to get together a book club. And the most common denominator for why they couldn't read a book a month was that they don't have enough time. Down in the lobby area, I was, after my steam room, I was waiting for my smoothie, and I observed a trainer, and he was there because I like to write down there. He was there for 45 minutes. And during those 45 minutes, he was on his phone laughing the whole entire time. So what do you think he was doing? He was fucking around looking at memes and joking, and his mindset was that I don't have time, I'm a victim, but he wasn't applying a structured plan to get him to where he wants to be. Where how hard would it be in the morning to wake up every day, write to yourself what you want to do and the content that you need to create, and then during those times when you're slacking around, go film some content and ask another trainer for 30 minutes to film you doing some push-ups, and why everyone today is doing like this, and the form is just complete shit. Where there in the class, we have the last page of the syllabus, there's this chart, and it's a path, and the masses are going one way and there's one person coming over here. And it's interesting to sit back and just kind of reflect and observe in these times, because masses are generally where I don't want to go. Everyone is, like you said, they're doing the at-home workouts. Everyone is just following suit. How many people do you see doing funny face push-ups? Huh? No, they're just doing these.
Trainers.
they're half-assed push-ups like this. They're doing this chicken head thing, and it's terrible form. And so you got to be different. You got to be unique. And just to piggyback off what you said with content format and rotation, don't fall into the not routine, but prisoner's not the word either, but don't be a sheep and do, I think sheep would be the word, as everyone else. Because if I were to analyze our analytics in the last 30 posts on our internship page, the ones that did the best were with Valeria and with Julia. So according to that, I would need to post only workouts with them. The ones that don't have a lot of drive are ones where I'm teaching anything with me. People don't like, I guess it's my hair. They don't like I could reflect and say they don't like my teachings, or I'm not shirtless, or whatever it is, but that's not my message. And so I dash in the Instagram folk like Valeria and Julia and others who have a lot of followers, but at the same time, I'm going to put us common people on there as well. And I'm going to focus on our underlying issue, which is spreading education. I'm going to throw jabs at NASM because I like pissing people off. And NASM, they're a bunch of sheep, so they just follow. And anytime you make fun of NASM, it's funny because right before our post here, I was making fun of NASM. I'll actually show you. There was a post. I get these emails every single day. So here's my beloved NASM. It's like, let's get on a stability ball at all times. I swear, it's like, find a NASM trainer. There's some type of stability ball. And people get, oh, you're making fun of them. You're negative. You don't know me. And you know that if you do know me, I'm the furthest from a negative individual. It's just to stir the pot. And most people are sheep and they're following and they think that NASM is the best certification out there. And so I'm really opportunistic during this time, and I've set up probably 10 to 15 Zoom calls in the next 2 weeks with managers at Equinox, Lifetime, Crunch 24, and we're going to talk about the trainers that are most successful. And guess what the common denominator is? It's trainers who are not going through NASM. It's the ones who have an education. It's the ones that are constantly learning, have gone through an internship. So it's not me blasting the industry. It's me educating people that when it comes to wanting to become a trainer, you need to do something different. And I'm sure you can agree, Danny, when it comes to being an online trainer, you need to do something different. And the masses are just doing the same shit as everyone else.
Yeah, no, completely. I mean, that's actually a good transition too, is that, you know, just quickly to touch on that is it's I think what a lot of people do is they hire an online coach and then they see what that online coach is doing. And then they're like, cool, that's what I'm going to do. Instead of saying, how can I make this better and different? It's like, oh, that seems easy and like a good way to make money. So I think getting more into personal branding, you know, this is kind of the idea of like, how can you increase your conversion through personal branding, which is a huge thing because it's really easy, like you said, to just go with the masses, get lost in the shuffle. You know, you're just another Instagram trainer. So one of the things I always say is how can you hone it on your core message through your profile? Essentially meaning like when people look at your Instagram profile, your TikTok profile, your Facebook page, whatever it is, they should immediately get like why you're different and why you're better. So I'll even point to the show up page. It's apparent right away that it's education-based training, or if you're at the internship page, it's an education-based program that's not just surface level, it's in person, which is different than what's out there, right? So the equivalent as a trainer is you're not just an online coach or a bikini competition prep coach or a lifestyle coach. Like you need to have a different angle and a different thing that you're doing. And finding out what that is, I've talked about this a lot, it really depends on your background and your history. So like even Megan, who's was one of the San Diego interns, she's someone who was a D1 athlete, like great, like camera presence, really, really fun to be around. So she's someone who was like, great, go train high energy D1 athletes and make that your thing and make it about either athletes transitioning out of college or athletes who are on summer break and are trying to get in their, you know, the best shape for their season, whatever it might be. But instead of just trying to be, you know, in her case, a fitness coach or a trainer, use your background, use your experience, use the personality and sort of the demographic that you fit in to really emphasize that unique angle. So figuring out what that is and honing in on it through your profile. And then it kind of ties into that second point is what do you want people to know about you when they glance at your page and how can you convey that? So not just saying, you know, in your bio, I'm a fitness coach, but, you know, I'm a coach who helps D1 athletes get in the best shape of their life for their upcoming season, right? Something really specific. And if I look at that and I don't fit that, great, I'm not going to work with you. And I might, but probably not. But the other side of it is don't think of all the people that you're shutting out. Think of the people who you're very specifically speaking to. So for me, if someone said in their profile, I work with, you know, bikini competitors under the age of 24 who are looking to put on muscle, whatever. If it was very specific to me, I'm more likely to work with that person instead of just, I'm a competition coach. That's not appealing to me. So you'd rather appeal to a very specific group of people and have them really connect with you than not appeal to anyone because you're so big. And then the third thing you want to think about is how often are you mentioning your business or your company or whatever you're selling in your posts and your story and your bio. So this is something every post at the very least, at the very bottom should have a link to your website. And like, if you want to apply for online coaching with me, here's the link, right? On every single post. Or here's a giveaway I'm doing that links to your website. Something to drive people to your website. It should also be always link in bio, some sort of mention in your bio about what your business is. You should have a highlight on your feed page that says client testimonial or programs I'm selling, whatever, right? But if people don't, if it's not extremely obvious what you're selling, I'm less likely to click on it. So you need to put it literally everywhere that anyone could possibly read it. And the fourth thing is what's your unique angle for your business or your company, and how can we amplify that through your profile? So not just thinking, I'm a coach, right? But thinking, okay, this is the unique part of my coaching service. Even if you do other things, push that unique angle and make that your selling point. Don't just make it a part of what you do. So if there's something that I'm doing, if I'm selling home workouts, but there's something super crazy and unique about them, that's the thing that you should be pushing, not just I'm selling home workouts. And that last thing is how can we create more tie-ins and points of conversation about your company. So what that means is, you know, when you're doing, let's say you're doing a motivational feed post, caption, whatever, right, about keeping a positive mindset or how to, you know, stay motivated to do workouts when you can't be in the gym, whatever it might be, find a way to tie it into what you're selling or what you're doing. and use it as a way to promote what you're doing. So instead of just, yeah, it's really important to stay motivated, here's my top 3 tips for motivation, something that would be much more effective is, you know, I'm struggling to stay motivated. Here's what I've done. I've put it into a guide for you. It's available for $5 on my website, or it's a free download on my website. That's much more likely to get conversion because now people are going to your website, downloading the guide. If it's a good quality guide and they like it, they're likely to purchase something else from you. Or if it's a free download, they're likely to now go and purchase something from you. So find ways to create those tie-ins and points of conversations through your feed, through your stories, not just, you know, here's a couple tips and buy, because I'll scroll through that, I'll half read it, and I'll move on to the next thing.
Great. So just to add in a couple things that I would encourage you guys to work with a team. Dani's awesome at what she does, and she put together this awesome PowerPoint and she sent it over to me, and it was like we were just, you know, piggybacking off of each other. I'm like, we got to throw a show up thing on there. And it's not like that she didn't think about it, but it was just she's putting all this stuff together, a lot going through her head, and it's like, oh yeah. So if she would have done it just by herself, then that's something that she could have missed out on. And it's not like it's like we're calling each other out. I think it's we're helping each other. So you got to always remember that when you have other people on your team, you're only going to be more successful. And, you know, I implement these strategies all the time, and I've learned so much from her. I look at the times right now, and what are people doing a lot of? They're at home. So how can I be different with the qualities and position ourselves differently? Well, I can get anyone to pass the NASM CPT. So what do I need to do? On Friday, I'm going to have a 45-minute talk on how to pass the NASM CPT, specifically Chapter 6. And in that message, in the first 5 minutes, I'm going to talk about, and I'm going to educate, because these are people I don't know. I'm going to ask them, why are you guys choosing NASM? And then educate them on who NASM is. Do you understand who Blackstone is, one of the largest investment firms in the world? Well, they own NASM, and they're really great at getting in front of you. So are you choosing NASM because of serendipity? Are you choosing NASM because you really believe that they're the best brand? Or are you doing it just because they're in front of your face, or you asked the trainer and they told you to do it? So are you a sheep, or are you really thinking? And I'm gonna preface it in a way that I'm not going to offend these individuals. I'm going to go through, I'm going to get them to pass the NASM, and at the end, I'm going to tell them, you guys need to do our online internship. So I have to look at this opportunity now and find ways to help others to get them to do what they want to do, which is pass NASM. But then I'm going to sprinkle in my own unique business advantage to help them. And that's what, any thoughts or anything that you have on that I could add in for what I'm doing?
Yeah, I mean, mention the internship early and often, you know, that's a huge thing. If people start to kind of, their attention fades. And so I think the first thing I would do is say, hey, here's why I'm qualified to do this. I teach this internship. It's based in LA and San Diego. Right now it's all online, super easy to sign up. Here's the link. Okay, let me get into it. And then every time you mention anything that could apply to the internship, we talk about this all the time in our internship when our students do hands-on training or when they watch live trainings. Because those are things for me that I'd be like, oh, NASM doesn't do that, NASM doesn't do that. I've never seen a live training with NASM. So trying to create those points and basically constantly, without bashing them, like you said, just drawing a parallel between this is something that we do that you're not going to get through NASM. This would be helpful to you. Bummer you don't have it. You could have it if you signed up. So just kind of showing them the missed opportunity is huge and highlighting that.
Next.
So starting point, your general profile. I mean, this pretty much applies to every social media platform. No, thought I had to sneeze. Okay, no, I'm good, guys. Your general profile. The first thing is you want to adjust your profile photo. I see that's a huge kind of just missed opportunity for people. This is a little different if you're a company page or a business page. But if it's your name on the page, like it needs to be something that has a broad audience appeal. It's a full body photo, or at least like chest up. You're smiling, you're well groomed, you look nice. I see a lot of people that you can't see their face, or you can't really tell what's going on in their profile photo, or it's dark. Like it needs to be bright colors, really clear what's going on. Just like it's spring thing. You want it to be, you know, clean and look nice. So that's a huge thing. And then just working on the language in your bio. I constantly revise mine. It's not great right now, but I keep working on it because I think you can never sort of be too specific with it. It should be clear what your message is, what services you're providing, and not just through the link in your bio, but like, you know, I'm a certified trainer or whatever you want to say there. I'm a coach, a fitness coach, an online coach, whatever, you know, I sell home guides, super clear what you do. And that should change all the time. That's the other thing too. Like right now, this would be the perfect time to say, like, I'll get you in the best shape of your life through home workouts, right? If that's what you're promoting. So not just leaving it once you've settled on something you like, but constantly changing it and adapting it to the times. And then, you know, just a line or two about what you do. And of course, always a link to your coaching services or your website. I always say have an arrow pointing down and have something catchy, whether it's, you know, click here to get in the best shape of your life, or click here for a surprise, whatever, make it funny, make it stupid, but just something that people are kind of going to pay attention to it, because everyone has the link in your bio. So if you're not telling them to go click on it, they're not going to click on it. And the last thing that I think people really are still not utilizing, even though it's been out for like, I want to say over a year, maybe a little less, but the highlight strip that you have on your profile is huge. Like, that's just a huge missed opportunity if you're not using that. So all of your highlights should have a cover photo that looks the same, that's labeled, like, I just like one color and text on top for every single one, so it's really clear what's going on. And whatever you put on there, it should be driving sales. So if it's a transformation highlight, and then a testimonials highlight, and then a, you know, highlighting training your clients, or, you know, you do top 5 reasons you should work with a coach, and you make that a highlight. But every single highlight should be driving sales. And I think a lot of people are just using it to, you know, oh, I want to save this, so they just put random crap on their highlights. But like, that is just a massive missed area of opportunity. It's basically like your story's up there forever at that point, which is amazing. Because if you post a story that you think is going to drive sales, now you can save it up there and make it something that people can click on. So, you know, not neglecting those, just because I know they can be a little annoying to string together, but not just ignoring them because you don't like making them or you don't feel like they're important, because those are huge.
As I'm looking at mine, just to make sure that's what we're doing. So good, I'm on track. All righty, next.
So finding your successful content formats. We touched on this a little bit at the beginning, but these are some not great examples that I wouldn't recommend using, but just so that you get a sense of what I'm talking about. I always say have your format A, B, and C. So maybe 1 is a gym photo, doesn't really work right now, but a home workout. B is like a lifestyle photo, either a professionally shot photo or kind of more of a style-based photo, or a gym outfit photo, whatever. And maybe the third one is like a personal story or a personal example that you think people will connect to. You can kind of choose what the photo or video looks like there. The big thing is that they should be pretty different. Like, you can kind of see in all 3 of these examples, they're not particularly similar, but they all have the same tie-in, right? The lifestyle is still fitness-based. The gym stuff is obviously more specific to working out, and the story stuff should be, I overcame this challenge and it taught me this, or I got into fitness because of this, right? But figuring out what those successful content formats are going to be for you. I think right now it's kind of exactly what we've been talking about. Everyone is doing the same thing. Like, everyone is doing home workouts and stay motivated, stay positive, and it's like, it's not really enough to do that. And look, that's always like, if you don't really care that much about your Instagram, like if it's not a big priority for you, that's fine, and go ahead and do swipe workouts. Like, look, for me, my #1 priority is not growing my Instagram, it's growing other people's Instagram. So for me, swipe workouts are fine. If your main source of income and your main priority is to grow your Instagram and convert through Instagram, it's not enough to be posting swipe workouts. Your content should be well shot, it should be creative, it should be a little more produced than what you would anticipate from like an iPhone video. It doesn't have to be a super expensive camera or anything like that, but edit it, make it creative, make it look good. But I really, really believe that a swipe workout with text on it is not enough to really differentiate yourself if that's what your priority is and what you're trying to do. I think for a lot of people, they just, you know, they're looking to other social media formats. Like, for example, I think TikTok right now, I've never seen anything blow up the way that TikTok is blowing up right now. It's insane. But that's a huge thing of like, you know, if you don't have success on Instagram, if you're not crazy about posting on Instagram, if you don't have good ideas for this, that's fine. Go find another social media platform that you do enjoy, that you can convert on. Because I talk about Instagram a lot because that is where a lot of fitness conversion happens. But that's not to say that fitness TikTok couldn't blow up, because it already is starting to grow, right? So, or even look, Facebook. I know a lot of people who have Facebook success in the kind of older, like 30 to 50, 55 demographic. There's a lot of success there. So, you know, whatever your particular sort of bread and butter is with your social media, whether it's Instagram, whether it's TikTok, whether it's Facebook or YouTube, you still need to be identifying your successful content formats that are different, that are not just, oh, everyone's doing this, so let me go do this. Because by the time you're jumping on the trend, it's too late, because people are already successful doing it. So make it your own.
Yeah, a lot of trainers ask me, they start out their Instagram page, their business page, and they're completely lost on where to start. I got to have the first best post, and I need to come up with new exercises. People don't want to see the boring stuff. Well, when you have a format like this, it's just going to help structure you. And I think you should have the boring stuff for the reason that you doing a hip thrust someone hasn't seen that. Sure, Brett Contreras has done it, we've done it, Chelsea's done it, but your followers haven't seen you do a hip thrust. It's not always doing the hip thrust, but you can have one be a form exercise, one could be a flashy exercise, and format C, get creative, like she was saying. But also, Instagram is very narcissistic. I don't see a lot of other Instagram folk trying to truly help other individuals. So why not you have like a philanthropy one where you highlight one of your clients or you highlight someone who people should follow. So on our page, we have someone that we suggest for you to follow per, I think it's every 4 to 6. So we just did the prehab guys. We did Sohee Lee. We're trying to help other people. Now, with that being said, there are some things that Danny said that we're 100% on the spotlight. So with the time we have left, we still have some slides to go through, but could we take a couple seconds selfishly to take a look at the internship page, because we're doing exactly what you're saying. We're just posting with the context saying like, here's this, here's that. So what would you suggest for us to either change up a little bit, or because I do a tweet and then I'll do the workouts from students or some type of educational stuff. So what would your suggestions for us to be a little different and or continue what we're doing or change it up?
I mean, I think just looking at this, I think one of the big things is like, because it is an education-based page, I would love to see a little bit more talking from students. I think that's a big thing. There's a lot of workouts which are great and a lot of sort of like form corrections and whatnot, but I think to me, having students and, give them some time to prepare and really like hone in on what it is they want to talk about. But I think maybe adding a format of like a really creative way, a student jumps down, does a push-up, here's something you should know about push-ups, right? Making it sort of high energy and fun and showing that the students really do understand what's going on and they really are getting that education. Because to me, hearing someone say, I've only been in this course for a month and I can explain, let's say scapular rotation to you, that's impressive to me. Is like, if I'm coming from no fitness background or just having taken the NASM, whatever, seeing people who know all this after a really short period of time, super interesting. So I would say just sort of more evidence of the program working would be helpful.
Great, I like that. So Jared and I can spend some time going through and almost make it part of the curriculum, where on Monday or Tuesday, whichever location you're at, I could have like an outline. These are the topics that we want to post for next week. Each student, part of your homework, take one of them. So right now we're doing shoulder anatomy. So maybe it's the agonist at the humerus during 3 exercises: a military press, which would be abduction, a pull-up, which would be adduction, and then a bent over row, which would be horizontal abduction. And the student needs to make it kind of fun, lively on their own, hop down, do the exercise real quick, has to be within a minute, and explain what the agonist is, the muscle, whatever, so then people can see others doing and taking ownership of learning that. So that's great input. Thank you.
Yeah. So I'll roll through pretty quickly. I don't take up too much time. But one of the things that's huge is your captions for your feed posts, whether this is Facebook, Instagram, whatever format it might be, asking questions, having calls to action. So not just, here's my caption, but like we talked about earlier, go check out my website, go check out my giveaway, giving people something to do. Again, brand voice. I always have my clients come up with anywhere from like 20 to 30 words that they feel like just, words and phrases describe like that really match the theme and the messaging and the style of their brand. Because I think you read what a lot of people write, and sometimes it sounds really intense and sometimes it sounds really uplifting, and there's not like that cohesiveness in the way they're talking. So your brand voice shouldn't just necessarily be how you write or you talk, but certain words and phrases that are repeated, that are cohesive, and that are sort of, it's a lot of times people call this a style guide, but basically the style of how you're talking and what the brand voice is, I think, is a really big thing. What words are you using, phrases, and things that you're kind of just reiterating constantly. And then, of course, response and engagement. Respond to all your comments. This drives me crazy. It's the easiest thing in the world to do, even if it's just an emoji. Make people feel acknowledged. The really thing is just that kind of engagement with them. And then the last thing is creating thought starters in your captions, whether it's discussing a common issue or a new training style, just something that will drive discussion about your business and what you do. So not just, here's a workout I did, but here's why I did the workout, why it might be effective for you. What do you think? So execution and posting strategy, this is a big thing, like we talked about super quickly. Planning options, I just use an Excel sheet to plan posts for my clients, but you can use Hootsuite as well. Monthly subscription, it's great. You can plan out all your posts. no excuses to miss a day, really easy. And then test out those content formats, create cycles, write down what the analytics are from everything, look at them, and reevaluate every couple weeks. And then consistency. It's basically impossible to grow on Instagram without posting at least daily on your story, if not on your feed. So it's just hugely important.
What's that app? It's called Hootsuite or something like that?
Hootsuite, yeah, that's the one that's on here.
Yeah. And so
yeah.
excuses, again, I don't have time. I find myself overanalyzing it. Use Grammarly. You can download that to make sure that you're not having any errors. And then on Sunday night, you can spend an hour reflecting, writing, setting up your workouts for your clients, coming up with creative new warm-ups, learning about a new muscle. So you spend a good hour or two, and you got to constantly think what your competition is doing. And so most people take the mindset of Monday through Friday is work, Saturday and Sunday I'm off. So if you are new to the training world, the fitness world, nutrition world, whatever, statistically speaking, the bulk of your competition will be doing that. So if you want to be ahead of the game, you need to be doing things when they are not. So I would challenge you to wake up early on Saturday, get some content out of the way. Sunday, the latter half, 4 o'clock on, spend 4 hours. That's a half a day. If you were to get an extra half a day of work on your competition, that's 2 days a month. That's 24 days a year. That's equivalent to 2.5 more weeks. That's pretty significant of more work that you can do. So you're really going to separate yourself from your competition. So during that time, learn more about how you can be the expert in your arena, and then also how you can give back and be different. And so posting this stuff, if you're not posting daily, you're just lazy. That's what it is. And you could disagree with me, but so your age group, of 20 to 30ish, people are on Instagram daily. So if they're not seeing you daily, that's your fault. You missed out. And then the funny thing that pisses me off is people will then complain saying the industry is so hard, it's so saturated. No, it's not. People are not doing what's required of them. There's just because there's a lot of basketball players doesn't mean that they're quality basketball players. Basketball players today suck. If you are educated and you go through an internship and you listen to people like Danny, you will be a great basketball player. And so I can't stress that enough. People just have too many excuses.
I can't help with basketball. I can't help with social media. Too short for that. And then that's a good transition too. Is just onto your stories. Like stories are truly the easiest thing in the world as far as conversion goes. I'd say easier than posts. You should be posting every day about your brand. If you have over 10,000 followers, you should be posting with a swipe up. There's literally no excuse for that. You should be reposting the same call to action with swipe ups. So just because you posted about a guide you're selling yesterday doesn't mean that I saw it. There are days when I don't watch anyone's stories because I have stuff going on. There are days where I don't feel like being on Instagram all day, so I just post and then I get off, or I engage for 10 minutes and I get off. There are days where, I might not see your story. You might not even surface at the top of my feed if I haven't looked at your stuff in a while. So there's a million reasons why someone might not see your story. So at least 3-4 times a week, but honestly, every day you should be posting just with a swipe up about what you're selling. Small variations are fine, but it should be the same messaging of, hey, trying to get in the best shape of your life. Awesome. I have the program for you. Swipe up every day. Like there's just no reason not to. And then giveaways, polls, etc. Just opportunities on your stories to engage. So if you do, follow me and tag a friend in my last feed post, I'll give away $100, whatever. That's super helpful for your engagement. And then I like client and customer takeovers for stories. I think those are huge. I don't see a lot of those. So your clients, have them send you 5 to 6 Instagram stories talking about their experience working with you, or a funny story that happened while you were training, just more things to catch people's attention. Because if I go to click on your story and I see someone else's face, I'm going to stop for a second because that's a little different, right? I'm used to seeing you, I see someone else, I'm like, oh, what is this? So, and always having text on screen with your stories. Anytime someone is talking, there should be text on screen, because otherwise I'm not always going to turn my sound off. So just small at the bottom, a summary of what they're talking about.
Like that.
And then just 2 quick things, engagement every single day. I will talk about this forever, so I won't. But if you're not engaging with people, you're missing out on huge opportunities for growth and for conversion. So people always complain to me, especially my influencer clients, love them all, but I hear all the time, well, I'm not growing because of the algorithm. I'm not growing because of the algorithm, the YouTube algorithm, the Instagram algorithm, the Facebook algorithm. I'm like, great, so who cares about the algorithm? reach out to 100 people, 40 people, 150 people, 20 people, whatever. Reach out to people every single day. Try to connect with them. Try to build relationships, potential opportunities, potential collaboration. One of the biggest things that I get from an influencer perspective is my clients will say, oh, I want to do a brand deal with X company. And I'm like, great, I can potentially pitch you and get you that brand deal, and I will. But the other side of it is like, what if you authentically built a relationship with that company? Think about how much more money we could get. Think about how much easier it would be to close this if you tagged them. So the equivalent of that is like, if you want to collaborate with an influencer with similar following, you don't necessarily need to DM them and say, hey, I want to collab. Send them messages, respond to their story, authentically engage with them, because people are then so much more likely to give you whatever it is that you need if you've built up that relationship first. So, you know, outside of that, the more people see you and you comment on their stuff and you respond to their stories, the more likely they're to go look at your page and potentially buy whatever you're selling. So, you know, authentic engagement is huge. So for example, I said search for like hashtag workouts for women and comment on 10 workouts that have an exercise that you haven't done or haven't seen, or, you know, the person has a cool variation, comment, ask a question, whatever. The biggest thing that you want to avoid is repetitive and generic comments. I see people who do like copy and paste DMs, copy and paste comments, like, cute girl, love this. You should check out my program. And it's like, that's, it's not only annoying, but it's also just like not effective. So I would say a simple goal for you is maybe 20 DMs a day, 30 comments a day, and maybe 50 emails or, you know, some other way of engaging a day. Especially right now, everyone has the time to do this, to go and engage and to start conversations. There's really no excuse right now. So, you know, actively engaging with people, seeking out accounts, really trying to make those connections. And the last
This
thing
is the last one, right? Okay.
Last slide, power on through. It's your daily engagement, so passive engagement. So responding to all of your comments. This is one that I sent to my client. Someone comments on a cute photo for her dog. She responds to all the comments. Seeking out accounts with similar followings, engaging, liking, DMing with them, helping their current audience feel connected. It's a huge thing is, you know, if your audience feels like you value them, they're more likely to stick around and continue to comment, to continue to engage. So don't ignore your comments, engage with your followers often. If you see someone who comments on all of your posts, send them a DM and say, hey, I appreciate that you comment on my posts. Is there anything I could do that would be helpful for you? So don't ignore your DMs, respond to people, answer questions, and be helpful, because that's when people stick around. Your comments don't go unanswered, your DMs don't go unanswered, they feel connected to you.
So you heard it from us. Slide into more people's DMs. I love that word.
Like giving you permission.
Yes, so we appreciate you guys more than you know. We would love to help you out more. Send us some messages, comment. The one thing that we would like to ask from you is, if you are watching this, just throw a quick little thing in your story. Let people know that we are providing free information for those. We have an online internship. We just started, well, we can't continue it until we get back to the gym, but we're going to start a weekly internship aspect where people can come in and shadow. And we're just, from ideas, talking with Danny right now. I just texted her and I said I'd love to start highlighting one of the online interns per week where they can hop on a call. We can then record it, and then we can go over techniques to help that individual grow. So it'd be really neat to look at in June, in September, in the new year, someone who had one of these calls with us and were able to help grow their following 1,000 followers, 10,000 followers, to get them to that swipe up opportunity, just to help more people, That's what we're trying to do. So thank you guys. Thank you, Danny, and have a great rest of the day.